Boop, boop, biddly boop, boop, boo. What's happening? You're all very welcome to episode 85 of Buckshot for Friday the 16th of November 2018. How fucking are you? I'm recording this on right now, right, quite literally an hour before this comes out. I'm banging this out. Late one last night, gigging. So just to get out of the way and get this one rolling, we have tonight, if you're in the Cork region, I'll be in the Black Sheep Comedy Club. And my next stand-up gig available to the public is in Dolan's, I think on the 19th of December. Also, if you're in need of a good dose of panto, or if you're part of any corporate or if you're in need of any panto, you know where to fucking find me. I'll be talking to you much more before then anyway, don't worry too much about that. Also, thank you very much to the Patreon lads and laces. The gear has been dispatched. The gear that we bought has been dispatched, so it should be here soon. Fair play to everybody from T Republic. I went ahead, lads, and I'm going to get, I'm organising promo codes for Patreon people. So T Republic are coming back to me with a promo code, because a few people have just been on to me anyway, but they want to buy it at a cheaper price, which is absolutely no worries with me. As Patreon folk, you're more than welcome to it. Like that, if you haven't subscribed, or you don't feel you want to subscribe, but you do want to fling a couple of dollars at it, have a look, see what you want to do. You can throw a one-time only payment too, which is absolutely great. Fling it at the internet there for the old Buckshot podcast. Have a look. The link will be in the description. Have a look at Patreon if you've nothing better to be doing. Obviously, I'll be putting up an episode from the back catalogue of the Tom and Jerry Show exclusively for the Patreon lads. Right, all that said, I'm going to introduce today's guest. She was she's always been genuinely one of the funniest people to talk to, because she just talks at 150 miles an hour. So keep your ears locked on, right? Also, she's just one of the most honest, funny people that you're going to have the credit. I'm totally taking all the credit for anything she achieves in stand-up, by the way, as well. In that we chatted first on TV3, and then we messaged back and forth as to how to get into it, and everything after that. Granted, I had no hand or part in it, but I'm taking all fucking credit for it. Simple as that. She is the illustrator and author of the online character that most Irish people will have seen, your One Nikita. I'm probably saying it wrong as per, colloquialisms and all the rest. Your One Nikita would be how it should be pronounced. But she has not only 2 books out. We talked about the 2 books, and holy fuck moments they were. And she has an animated cartoon coming out next week on the RT Player, which I will be putting up on the old Twitter and all the rest of it. We had a really honest, good crack chat, but there was some fair good honesty inside in it too. So I think you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Please give it up for the very brilliant Aoife Dooley. Gordon, lovely stuff. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much for popping in too. We finally got it done, Aoife.
We finally got it done after weeks of trying to organise, but now I'm here.
It's well, do you know what I mean? That's the thing about podcasting. It's tricky to, I suppose, nail each other down, and there's an easy going kind of thing about it, because all right, there's no what the fuck, know. But you've been flat out.
Yeah, absolutely flat out. So flat out that I'm just I need a break. I think after those last few months, my mouth. I know I shouldn't be even saying this in the podcast, but my mouth is full of mouth ulcers just because I'm that run down.
Really?
Yeah. So I have to kind of get my B12 into me now and start looking after myself, because I've just been working non-stop, literally late nights and everything, so I'll be looking forward to a bit of a break after.
But that's the difference though, do you know what I mean? Whether you're willing to, because, some people we go, you kind of make your own luck, don't you? You gotta work your whole off. There's just no two ways about it.
No, especially when you're working freelance as well, you never know when the work is going to come in. So when it does come in, and when people start emailing you when you're busy with more work, you just take it on, because you don't know when's the next time you're going to get more work. And usually January and around the summertime are really quiet when you're freelance as well. I write a note. I can't remember who told me, but someone told me that they write a note in their calendar every January at the same time saying, "Don't worry, it was this quiet last year." And I've actually started doing it as well.
That's a great idea.
Because it reminds you. It reminds you then, so you're not as kind of anxious then when it comes around and it's quiet. You kind of it's good, because you do forget.
That's a valid point. Jeez, I think I might write that into the old fucking
it's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah,
I can't remember who told me, but it was good advice because I done it this year, like, and I was like, oh God, I was like, no work on. I was just seeing it in my calendar, and I was like, oh yeah, it was this quiet last year. That's fine. It's like this for most people, so it's good.
When did you start? Was it for the crack, or was art your thing in school, like?
Art was definitely my thing in school. It was kind of even before school, like I was really interested in it. I didn't even realise, but I used to use art to, I know everyone probably uses art to express themselves, but I was kind of real into myself when I was younger, so I actually used it.
And by that you mean you were introverted, not that you were totally into yourself.
I was,
I was really into myself. Just to let you know, I was class.
Yeah, I was an absolute legend when I was 5. No, but I literally was just kind of, I was never really good with my feelings, so I couldn't express how I was feeling, so I used to draw how I was feeling.
Right.
And I used to draw like all different kinds of things, and then like my granduncle used to write stories, and I used to draw things to go with them, and then just kind of real imaginative kind of stuff, so I was kind of that way inclined from a young age, but I loved art in secondary school, and then I wanted to do something after that then, and went to do graphic design after the leaving cert.
Did you, That's seriously interesting when you think about it, isn't it? That another person turn around and start beating the heads off somebody or something like that. Because people just in general, I don't know, like people go, oh, Irish people. I don't think people in general are probably good at showing, getting their emotions. Like, but to turn around and go, I'm fucking going to draw this. You know what I mean? Like, because other people are just, there's a very easy fine line to turn around and be a bully of a fucker or something like that. Start smacking people or start, what do they say, acting out. Whereas you went, I'll draw it.
It was funny because I didn't even think that I was doing that at the time, and it was something I remember. I found out when I was diagnosed in April that I was autistic, that I found out that your woman who was assessing me, she says, you have a photographic memory, like you've got like an exceptional long-term memory. And I actually specifically remember drawing something for my mum when I think it was when my sister was born, and I felt a bit put out, and I drew a heart with a cross going through it, and these kind of things, and I remember that, like, and so like I kind of, I always used that kind of to express myself, and then it was just something I enjoyed doing, and I actually realised drawing is actually a STEM, and a STEM like is it's usually associated with autism, and it's like basically it's kind of like a way of like releasing, like if you're really like overexcited or if you're kind of nervous, and it could be like flapping or kind of like just like this with your hands, but drawing is actually a STEM as well. So I think I was like probably really stressed out. I didn't realise, because obviously I was only diagnosed at 27, so I didn't know that I was autistic. So I think I was probably really stressed out, and I was doing that to kind of just keep myself at ease as well, like, because I was always drawing in school, and I couldn't concentrate on anything else. So that was always, I think that's why I'm probably so good at it now, because I didn't concentrate on anything else, and I just like put all my energy into it. Yeah, it's weird, like it's
Well, they do say, like, you know what I mean, when somebody's an absolute specialist in something, say like a Formula 1 driver or whatever, like, they go, they don't see much crack outside of it. Like, because they 100% of their brain is going into being a Formula 1 driver, like totally. Same as drawing with you, like, you know
totally,
what I mean?
Like it's 100%. And it's kind of, like it's, I'd kind of pick that over probably socialising with people to some extent, like, so that's kind of, that's where it kind of gets difficult as well, because sometimes I have to remind myself that it is just work, and I should just go outside every so often and, enjoy the fresh air.
You could fairly quickly become a fairly, weirdo, especially because it is, like, I mean, you'd have
I'm already a weirdo now, in fairness.
We're all fucking weirdos. We're in comedy, for fuck's sake. We're all weirdos. But I do, like, I live out the country purely for that.
Yeah.
For that purpose, because I can't be looking at people, 24/7. Like, I can't, and I can't. Even if it's not looking at people, but even in it's just I suppose it's my genetics too. I was brought up in the country, but I feel quite claustrophobic even in a very open housing estate. Like, for me, it's too much to have people for 20 feet away.
Yeah,
do you know, like it's.
I totally get that, like, because since I moved into town, like, I didn't realise, like, there's just so many different things, like, because it's my first time moving out as well, and when I moved into town, I have to say, if there was a street that I hated the most, it would be Nassau Street. you should see me bolting it up there. Like,
Why Nassau Street?
I literally just bolt it in and out of people because you have the slow walkers, which I call the Sunday strollers.
Fucking hate 'em.
Yeah, and then you have people who are walking like too fast and they're walking up your hole. Like,
Yeah.
And you literally, I'm just like this. I'm like this, like dodging in and out of people. Like, if you see me walking up like Nassau Street, you would think I was an absolute lunatic. I'm just jumping around people trying to get out of the way because it's just so overwhelming to be around that many people in such a small street. So, but you think I just crossed the road to the other side, but I just couldn't be arsed.
I know, but there's no avoiding it. So, like, there's times in town when I've just gone, all right, I'm done here.
Yeah.
If I don't have a strict purpose to be here, like, it'll be back into the car and gone.
Yeah.
Because I had to go into Dundrum Town Centre the other day. Oh my God.
Oh, around this time of the year as well with Christmas, it's no.
Oh my! You've never because I didn't have to, but we finally got the Nespresso machines. We got that out of the box. We hadn't had it out of the box in fucking 6 months because we moved or whatever. And I fucking, do you know what? I'd get this thing going. We've no pods for the fucking thing, and the only place when you Google it, the only place that they had the pods for it was Dundrum Town Centre was the nearest. I went, oh fuck this, and herself stayed in the car. She was like. She was thinking, because she emails to write or whatever, and I said, grand. I was back within 5 minutes. She's like, how the fuck did you get up and down those? I said, because I practically ran. I can't be dealing with that. And just these mouth breathing, you know the people that walk around with their hands in their pockets, mouth wide open, just looking at nothing.
Oh, I know. Or the ones who stop in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. It's like I'm walking. Like, you know, like there are people walking around you.
You should be allowed to tow them straight in the hole.
Oh, big
I think
time.
you should be allowed to boot them straight in the hole.
I think so. Like, or the ones, do you ever get that, like, where you're walking and someone doesn't move out of your way? I've started now, you could call me an arsehole, but, like, you know, what are you meant to do? Like, just walk around everybody. Sometimes when you're walking, there's always someone who just walks into you.
Yep.
And you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? And now I've stopped purposely moving out of my way for people because I'm too nice like that, Tom. Do you know what I mean? So I just said to myself now, like that, like, no, do you know, I'm walking into you. You're going to walk into me. And, you know, you don't want to get a Dooley shoulder. I'm small, but that Dooley...
I've seen him.
I've
seen him. The strength, the strength in them shoulders.
They're big, like, they're broad, you know. grew to myself.
I'm 100. I've gone, well, you see, I've got probably 10 years on you too, so I have now got the old man syndrome where I'm like, oh, I've stopped giving a fuck about what you think of me, because if you're going to plow into me, trust me, there'll be a spiky elbow coming straight for you. I played rugby for 12 years, so I can throw a dirty shoulder when it needs to be, or a dirty elbow, but it's I totally fucking buy what you're saying, because the dickheads that just, like, do you know what's something that's actually, this will tell you how, I don't know where we mannerly one time in this country, but it actually struck me that this is a moment of manliness. I was coming in here, I was gigging here at the weekend, and on Saturday night, there was a couple going down the stairs ahead of me, and you saw there's two sets of double doors walking in. A bloke walked through, and without looking behind him, he still held the door open for the next person coming through. Yeah. So he sensed that there was somebody coming behind him, and I went, thank you very much, have a good night. And your man kind of double looked, he copped who I was, and he went, oh, sound, I'll see you in a bit. But it struck me, because that never happens anymore.
Oh, I do that though. Like, I hold the door open for people, especially if I'm going in. I always look behind me.
But you see, you're not a dickhead. See, this is the thing.
It's
Why is so many, like? I'm not saying okay, you don't have to put down your hanky on the ground for a lady. You know what I mean? But at the same time, have a fucking look over your shoulder. Yeah. And do you know what it is? I think it's kind of it's indicative of people that are completely self-obsessed, because they're like, I am the only person in this world right now. Yeah. Who else could possibly want to come through that door behind me? Like,
talking about self-obsessed and doors, I'd give you one now. Like, I was in the Omni, and do you know? Have you ever been to the Omni? No, you know the Omni shopping centre.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know the way? There's the back doors there at Burger King. You can go in the side doors there.
Is this up on whatchamacallit Street? Up on...
It's on the Swords Road.
Yes,
it's in
I know.
Santry,
yes, the big one, like.
Yeah, the big one. Yeah. Ah, well, it's a small enough shopping centre, but...
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of the one in Swords.
Oh, no, that's Pavilions.
Yes.
The Omni shopping centre is on the Swords Road. It's
I know it. We actually filmed a thing in there one Sunday morning about 3 or 4 months ago. But yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, that one.
There was dog shit outside the door. A couple of lads stood in it. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's the
Does
one.
that sound about right, does it?
It sounds about right. But I was holding the door open at the Burger King for this woman, and, you know, doing my thing, my nice thing. And do you know what she does? She stops midway in the door and starts texting. I'm still holding the door open. And I'm like, are you actually for real? Like, do you want me to hold this door when you finish your text? I've got places to go. I'm going to Nando's, like.
Oh my, like,
I know.
Oh, like, I was sensing you were going to say she walked through and didn't even acknowledge me.
No, she didn't acknowledge either.
But that's where I saw it going. I went, well, there can be nothing worse than that. You just said something fucking...
That's the worst I ever come across.
That is... I have a pain in my chest with the fury now that's going through me just thinking about that. I would have... You were fully in your right as you stood there to just sidekick her straight in the fucking arse.
I would have, but she was about 70 or something now, but you know.
That's you fucking animal.
I know.
You absolute animal. How can you be so in your own world?
Oh, it really annoyed me.
I wonder though, because this is another side of it, like, and you might be able to, when you were diagnosed, because you told me a couple of days later we were gigging, you're never going to guess. I said, well, turns out I'm autistic. I went, cool, because I didn't know, but did they offer you any tablets and stuff like that? Because we're turning into America here with our fucking tablet situation. Like,
no, they don't. It's kind of
there's nothing you can take for
it.
Like, anyway,
it's not something that you take something for. Like, it's kind of it's more about, like, see, a lot of people kind of don't really know too much about it, and I personally was one of those people because I had a very stereotypical view of what it was to be autistic.
We thought there was only one level of autism. Like.
But the only reason you think that there's one level of autism is because of how it's portrayed in the media. Like, you only ever see one kind, and it's always the more severe kind. Unfortunately, they never show that how big the spectrum actually is. Like, they never actually show that, like, there's all different kinds of people on the spectrum. Like, there's so many things that I didn't realize.
Have they created a level system? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh no, there's not really a level system. Well, they
a measurement of it. Like, is there? Can you measure it?
Well, there used to be functioning labels, and that used to be like high functioning, which meant that you were like almost like Sheldon Cooper of Big Bang Theory. You know, you were like, you know, you were able to talk, you were able to, like, you know, do work, and you know, basically it was looked upon that, like, if you're high functioning, you're going to be in Silicon Valley, and, you know, you're going to, you know, get a lot of work from that. Like, people are looking for autistic people at this level kind of thing.
Okay.
But then there's low functioning where you're like non-verbal and you're going to have to be cared for all your life. But the reason why they've got rid of the functioning labels was because of discrimination. So basically, low functioning means that just because someone's non-verbal doesn't mean that they're not all there.
Totally,
they just can't actually express themselves through words. Like, so someone could be highly intelligent but put down as being low functioning. But then the high functioning side, then, like, if I tell people, like, you know, I'm autistic, you usually get, well, you look grand to me.
What do you expect? You're going to have fucking horns.
That's what I always say. I actually have a bit in my set where I say, like, what do you want me to do? Like, lick this windowsill for 45 minutes without breaking eye contact with you? Do you know what I mean? Like, what would you make you feel more comfortable? Like, and it's not like that. Like, people just think that, like, it's like, I don't know.
The windowsill.
I think, but people literally just think that it's like, you know, like my granduncle, for example, turned around and he goes, "But you're not stupid." And I go, "It's not about being stupid."
Quite the opposite, actually.
It's actually the opposite, like, which is why I've probably done so well in the things that I do, because they've almost become my special interest, and a special interest in relation to autism is also kind of known as an obsession. So I'm obsessed with illustration and doing, like, certain things like this. So that's why I kind of spend a lot of time doing it, which I've kind of perfected then over, like, you know, obviously it's not perfected, but I've got to a stage where I'm quite happy with my work, and that's because just the focus I put in on it. So it's kind of more an ability for me than a disability, but it is still a disability in certain things. Like, I still put my foot in it now, like, saying certain things, like, that's a big one for me. Like, oh my God, you have no idea the fucking shit that oh my God, here's one for you. Two of my friends came over, and one of them, like, only lived down the road, and basically my friend was like, one of my friends about 50 or something, and my other friend was about 20 something, and she's lesbian, and she was like, oh yeah, like, you know, he said, you can stay in mine, and we were talking about Harvey Weinstein and all earlier on before that,
right?
And I just thought it was
where this is going.
I just thought it was a perfectly normal thing to turn around and say and go, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm not saying any names. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I said to the girl, I was like, oh yeah, you can stay in your man's house. He's not a mad creep or anything. Like, he won't do anything to you. And I thought that was a completely normal thing to say to Warner, and he was just looking at me laughing, like, because he knows me so well. Like, but certain things that I'd say like that, other people wouldn't really
kind of creep. You'll be grand.
No, but other people would look and kind of go, what the hell? Like, so, like, another thing that I done was when I was outside on shut, I had a gig there, and I was looking for a filter for a rollie, and I went outside to the front of the pub, and basically there was these lads, they were kind of like posh lads, and they were smoking, and I asked them for a filter, so I was rolling the smoke in front of them, and they started to be wankers straight off, and they were like, oh yeah, he's in a rowing championship, you know, like he's a professional rower, and I was like, oh, are you? And I go, because I know someone who does that in a gym,
right?
They have like a gym full of like these machines that people row on. It's like a championship thing. So
okay.
I thought it was something like that. So I said to him, I was like, oh yeah, like where they're all in the gym and they're like this. I go, it just looks like a big room of people riding, like nothing, doesn't it though? Like, and they were just like, yeah, and they turned their backs on me, and it's like stuff like that I say. No, but later on, I'd be in bed and I'd be like this asleep, and I'd be like, oh. I was like, why did I say that? Like, and it's
fuck it.
Yeah, I know, it's so silly, but like they're the kind of things that
doesn't
like,
help either that you've gone into stand-up comedy, because I think stand-up comedy weird shit is so like the darkest of the dark. And sitting where you're sitting right now, I've had some of the darkest. You try to out dark, because we're here in the green room at the Laughter Lounge. In case I didn't mention it, but some of the because it's in our little fucking weird brains, it's acceptable to come out with that shit. Like,
yeah.
And then you go into the real world and you say, he's not a creep, I swear to God, he's grand. And you might have said that just kind of throwaway comment, but other people, they're not ready for that.
Yeah,
they're not ready for that shit either.
But this is going back to pretty much since I was born. Like, you know, my uncle showed me this dead ginger cat on my nanny's road, and the first thing I said, can I hang it in the wardrobe? Like, I'm a little freak, like, Tom, like, I swear to God, like, I am a weirdo, like, driving by, like, literally, I'm not messing. Like, the stuff I used to go out with, driving by, like, this wedding, and I was in my friend's mum's car, and we pulled up at the lights, and it was on the right of us, and we looked out the window. She goes, oh, look at the bride and groom, they're gorgeous, aren't they? Here, I'll beep, everyone wave at them. And everyone was waving after she beeped, but I wound down the window and I go, hey, just shave your armpits. And the groom just looked under his arm and goes, no. And I go, no, your wife. And I got in some shit for saying that. Like,
what age were you when you were shouting?
I was 5. Like, literally, and do you know the thing at the airport, the big things that when you're driving around the airport, the side, you know those big orange kind of flag things that's like a tube.
Yes.
I said to my auntie when I was about 5 as well, like, oh, that looks like a willy. And I just come out with like random things like that, like I just say stuff like that, and don't even. I see the problem is I don't think before I speak. That's the main problem. So it's always a struggle. Yeah.
That totally helps with podcasts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if you've no filter, because the thing is, people want to hear non-filtered. Yeah. Because people have enough. I think sometimes too, people have enough of the
clean cut.
The clean cut, like, hey, welcome to, fuck off. Like,
on today's podcast. Oh, sorry, you're gonna have to wait. There's gonna be a Squarespace, ad right here now.
Yeah. No, I don't see any advertising coming my way for a while. It would have to be some exceptional numbers before because we've talked about this, like, where you have to. I can't say the word cunt. Do you know what I mean?
But you make up your own ads, like the way Mark Maron does, or like, no, he doesn't make them up, but he reads them. That's I love
brilliant,
that. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
I think he's done one on underwear before. It was really weird, and it was just like the most random thing to promote. But I really like the way he kind of includes it into his set, and it kind of makes it a joke almost. Like,
yeah,
it's.
Well, it's with this the whatchamacallit, this is kind of funded by the people who listen to it through Patreon.
Oh yeah.
So Patreon people just listening at a couple of dollars every week, and this is what funds it. You know what I mean? Buying the gear and all the rest of it. Like, so it makes for a better.
I think Blind Boy does that as well.
He does,
yeah.
I
think he's making a mint off that
thing.
He
like,
is.
They have dedicated followers. Those Rubber Bandits have dedicated followers. Like, I mean, it's kind of rich sometimes when he goes on, like, about, not being able to afford, this. Like, you remember he was going on about not being able to afford the good quality chicken down the shop. I'm like, would you ever fuck off? You would sell out fucking Vicar Street 10 nights in a fucking row.
I think he can well afford it.
He can well afford
a fucking quail at this stage.
You're fucking right, because like, there's an element too, you have to call bullshit and go, would you fuck off now? Alright, we get it. You're trying to speak for the everyman, but the reality is that if you sell out fucking Vicar Street 10 nights in a row, you're grand.
Yeah, you're grand.
But the reason, because I was asking you that, because I'm convinced you see the same people that do that shit walking, driving.
Yeah.
I see it around the city, something fierce, and you're going, you didn't even see me.
Yeah.
And I'm in a fucking car the same size as yours. How did you not? And you see people just oblivious, and you're like, are you on tablets? Like, what is making you this fucking weird? Because I'm not I suppose I kind of probably am a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but there's no conspiracy in it. Like, look how many pharmaceutical companies are in this country.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
half the country is employed by them. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember, I don't know, was I saying it on the podcast, but I was talking. The mother, I think, was in. She hadn't fucking. What did she? She's something like. Did she have a busted finger or some fucking thing, or it was an injury.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it was. And she was getting something with the doctor, just checked to make sure the bone was setting right or something like that. And the doctor went, would you like a prescription for some antidepressants?
Would you like a prescription for something? Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck would I want that for?
Yeah.
She's like, it's grand. Sure, everybody's on them. It's like, if you're feeling a bit down. If you're feeling a bit down. And she's like, no, if I'm feeling down, I fucking... I find a natural way to power through it rather than fucking. Now, some people.
I got offered them before as well. Like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, I never said that I knew, and I never took them. I got them twice, and I never took them because I knew that I wasn't just only depressed and suffering from anxiety. I knew that there was something else.
Yeah.
And then I was glad that I didn't, because I found out I was autistic. Like, what way would that have messed up my brain? Like,
stop
taking that. Like, it would have. I don't know what that would have done. So
probably would have totally inhibited your fucking want to draw.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
And you're just going, let's just fucking lounge into fucking Netflix and probably end up in a job of some sort that you don't like, but you can power through it because now there's antidepressants to take the fucking edge off. Like, now I'm not saying there's definitely people who need antidepressant tablets.
Totally, 100%.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, go handy on your prescription of them, lads.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I'm convinced too, a lot of doctors are getting fucking, because you.
It's like the dentist with that Kin mouthwash and those kind of that brand.
Yeah,
they're always like, "Oh, this is the best one." They must have some sponsorship with all the dentists because that's the one. Yeah.
Now, apparently, they're not allowed. Drugs companies are not allowed to straight up give them cash. But I have a funny feeling
round envelopes.
I have a funny feeling that it's not a straight cash, but all of a sudden there's a holiday voucher to the fucking Cayman Islands comes in the fucking. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Because I remember I knew a woman years ago, and her full-time job was taking out doctors for lunch on behalf of this drugs company. Full-time job was taking them out, schmoozing them, wining them and dining them all day long. She'd have to stay sober now and all the rest of it, but there'd be drinks flowing for these doctors. And it was purely, hey, we're not saying you gotta use us, but it'd be great if you used us.
Yeah,
do you know, like, and you're kind of going, sure, for fuck's sake, of course they're peddling them so, like.
Yeah.
And
it's like, what are you going to say if you're sitting down eating like a 3-course meal and they say that at the end of it, you're hardly going to say no. Like, what can you say when someone, you know what I mean?
Well, you want the next one, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody's peddling, say, a couple of grand's worth of fucking drugs for you every month, it's definitely going to be worth fucking wining and dining. And all of a sudden, a Brown Thomas voucher, or basket turns up at Christmas for you. You're like, I'm going to keep this up. I'm not suggesting that there's that many unethical doctors, but if you're going to be peddling antidepressants, you may as well peddle the one for the crowd who are giving you a few little sweeteners along the way, like, but I just think but that's what I'm wondering is, are people, how can you be so out of it? Like,
I don't know.
You walk, like, you take you, for instance, right? You're fucking flat out in the middle of doing a contract for somebody, and that they want drawings done for whatever, their new ad campaign. You go, fuck it, I must pop down to the shop to break away from this. And you walk down to the shop, but still you have the mind frame to still hold the door open for somebody.
Yeah.
Even though you're wedged in the middle of a job at the minute,
yeah.
but you're popping down to the shop just to clear your head. How the fuck come you can have the wherewithal to hold the door open for somebody, and some fucking cunt walks through and stops in the middle texting? Do you know what's she on?
Yeah.
Like, what's she on?
I think,
or is it just that people have become so self-involved in their phones and their fucking you know what I mean?
I think that's definitely part of it, but I just think that, like, a lot of people are just unaware of their surroundings, like, and they don't kind of see. I take everything in.
I'd be terrified of that, to be living that world where I just don't see everything around me.
I take everything in, like, so, like, literally, like, so I kind of, it's really weird, like, so I kind of look at places more than I look at people, so I'd look at my surroundings, so, like, it's kind of. So I'm kind of more aware of my surroundings in that way. Yeah, well, like an assassin. Oh, like an assassin. Yeah.
Do you ever see the Bourne Identity? Like, he picks up all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Looking for the exit door and all the rest of it. Maybe you don't realize, or maybe you are picked up by some like fucking CIA cell and they trained you, and they'll just say a code word someday, and all of a sudden you'll snap, and you'll find it. You'll also have a gun buried underneath your bed that you don't know about right now, but you put it there, hypnotically, like, and you're just getting through it now with the drawings and all the rest of it. Like,
it's all been applied. I don't know. I think that's what it is, though. I think I'm just more aware of my surroundings and just more kind of, what's the word, considerate as well. Like, I don't kind of, like, I just know that it pisses me off, so I don't want to piss other people off. Do you know that kind of way? But I think other people just don't care about that, and they're just like, as you said, and they're just like, whatever.
Well, I talk about it like all the time, well, I don't, not all the time, but when you get like the likes of a heckler, we'll say, and which you don't really get that much in Irish comedy clubs, but when you do, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're up against somebody who does this for a living and they're sober.
Yeah.
And you're steaming drunk and you just can't let it go.
Yeah.
Like, there was a woman here, like, and she was fucking shouting and roaring at fucking one of the hosts, and you're going, would you, like the other 300 and odd people were going, would you, in their heads, were going, shut the fuck up, you're not winning this. And she would just couldn't let it go, couldn't be beaten, basically.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not even a fight. He buried you on the first line.
Yeah.
So that he can move on and entertain the rest of the room. Not because but couldn't let it go. You're like, what the fuck are you? What the fuck?
I genuinely think as well, like on the weekends when people are like are going to gigs and you get someone who's loud like that, like they must be coked off their face or something, because like, they can't stay quiet, so they have to kind of shout or say something. That's what I think it is as well. Like I think it's it's
it
definitely
can't be natural.
And
it's definitely not the Irish way.
Because I've been locked at a gig, but I know not to stand up and make a show of myself.
No.
Like, so it has to be that element of they're doing something else that's kind of like making them more confident that they feel like they can do that. You know
that's
what I mean?
That's a really valid point, because it could be substance, all right. Because when you drink, you might get a bit giggly and a bit silly and a bit sloppy, but you wouldn't start fucking roaring.
No, but you kind of shut up when someone tells you. The worst heckler I seen was it was at a gig in is it the Ainsley House or Ansley House, just up there past the Five Lamps?
Oh yeah.
It was for the Five Lamps festival actually there last year, and it was hilarious. Like, it was a gig that was organised, and it was all female gig, and it was in a pub upstairs. It was not this old man's kind of pub, like like a local kind of pub, like, and basically a few of the locals went upstairs to watch the gig, and a lot of the comedians I found personally, like, were talking about the same kind of things. It was like the repeal the 8, your fanny, and these things, and I'm just calling it. I'm just calling it, Tom.
I kind of knew you were going that way.
No,
all right.
I'm just calling it, like, because like it's like fair enough if that's what you want to talk about, but when everyone else on the same lineup as you is talking about that, like, I think it doesn't look good. It just kind of looks
gears.
Change gears. And
yeah,
like,
if you see somebody doing it, you're like, well.
I'm just sick of the repeal the 8 jokes, to be dead honest with you, because I don't look at that as kind of like a joke, like, so I don't think it should be something
it's done regardless. Anyway,
it goes back to that simple thing that, like, I go by. You shouldn't talk about anything that you haven't been through yourself, and that's something that I stick by.
Absolutely,
like, because otherwise it just comes across wrong, I think. But anyway, to tell you what happened to this, so we're all standing there, and there was a girl on the stage, and she was talking about, I can't remember what stage she was in her set. I think she was about halfway through, and there was this woman who just randomly just emerged out of nowhere, like, and an L1, like, but she had a good bit of gargle on her now, like, she was, oh my god,
they can be the roughest.
And she I can't remember, she said something like, hey you, and everyone kind of went quiet and just looked at her, like, and she goes, you're talking a load of fucking shite. And I just, like, I started laughing.
Yeah.
I'd
be the very same.
I couldn't stop, because I just thought it was so funny that she came out of nowhere. But, like, the girl on stage handled herself well, and she was all like, and what's your name? And she goes, you want to know, why do you want to know my name? My name's Mary, and all. Like,
of course
it was so funny. And she got dragged out of place now, but, like, she was there, and she goes, you're brainwashing all these people and all.
Oh my god.
And it was just the altercation between them. It was just so funny, because I'd never seen anything like that. But she just went up and she was like, why are all these people in my pub? Like, this is where I usually drink.
Yeah.
These are all talking shite, and I think that's all that she was pretty much saying. But it was just out of the blue.
Well, that's the thing, you can catch, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
when somebody, she's probably going to that pub for the last 35 years.
That's what I mean, like,
and somebody's in there and it's like, hold on, something's different here, and I need to shout, and again, full of drink.
Yeah.
Brain probably a bit fucking frazzled too, like, you know, but you're right. I mean, that's like, as you talk about do you find that, like, with the, because when we talked, I think I met you before you started stand up, didn't we? Met on TV3.
It was
and
TV3.
we were messaging on Twitter and stuff like that.
right,
You were kind of going, I want to give this fucking thing a go, like, and because you naturally were very funny anyway, we're just like, I've got a funny story to tell, and none of it was about, do you know, it's gas about being a woman. Aren't men all pricks? There was none of that. Like, your stuff is just straight comedy, like, it's, you know what I mean, like,
that's because I've noticed another thing now. I'm not going into, like, this mad deep, but I've noticed another thing. I was never really girly. I never look, and I know, like, it's hard to say something like this now in this day and age, but like, I have to be honest with you, I never looked at myself as anything, just a person.
Yeah.
So I was never a girly person, so I kind of just talk about what I like in general. Like, I never kind of let that kind of get in the way of what I wanted to do. I kind of just, like, you know, I would never stopped and didn't ask someone something just because I was afraid of, I shouldn't be asking that. I just kind of, you know, that kind of way. Like,
yeah.
So I kind of, I just didn't really feel like talking about that kind of stuff was for me, because I feel like I don't really know what the point of it is, because it only kind of, gets across to one part of the audience, because I'd imagine if you're a male listening to that, like, you're just going to be just like, so, like, what does it have to do with me?
When you actually look at the audience, male or female, most of them are kind of going, so? Because
Yeah.
your average Joe or Josephine is just like that.
Yeah.
They're just a regular person who just wants to fucking laugh at funny shit.
That's what I mean.
And
Like, I think a lot of it's gone kind of serious now, where you're just like, oh, come on, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's, you know.
It's a dangerous place to tread, like, in that you're kind of going, your stuff better be fucking unbelievable. If you're going to be doing...
Yeah.
You know, and not politically charged stuff, but if you're going to be doing stuff that's, you know, like fucking agenda charged,
Yeah.
it better be fucking class.
Oh,
it
big
better
time,
be
yeah.
fucking class. Or just get fucking funny. Just get funny. Simple
Yeah.
as that. Like,
Because I think it's all, like, I think people are quick to kind of say, oh, you know, like, I can't get gigs here, you know, or they won't book me, instead of kind of looking at themselves and going, right, like, what do I need to do to perfect this? Because I don't understand why people don't look at it that way, because I wouldn't look at someone going, oh, they didn't book me. Like, does that mean that I think that I'm too good enough then and they should book me? Because you shouldn't think like that. You should never think like that about anything, because that just means that, like, you're expecting things to be handed to you. And
Nobody's
that's, you know,
due anything in this world.
Exactly.
Anything.
Your audience doesn't owe you anything. Like, you know,
Nobody owes you anything.
Nobody owes you anything. You
that's
have
a
to do it
really
yourself.
valid point, yeah.
So-
Because, listen, there was, long before there was, you know, I mean, obviously there's been, you know, an influx, like, there, I suppose in the last 3 years there's been an influx of female comedians, and I'm sure, but there's always been male comedians saying that exact same thing. And you're like, this is just people. You're just being lazy.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck what you say. If you're going to crib that somebody won't book you, it's because you won't make yourself properly available to the situation. Like, that's where, I suppose, the thing about sport, I suppose, in one way is kind of, it's more of a kind of a pure thing. There's no argument.
Yeah.
You're either fucking good enough or you're not. You
That's
can
it.
either
And
score more
yeah,
things
totally.
or win more things, and then but like,
if you don't get played, you're gonna push it more, so you get played next time.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know what I mean?
There you go,
It's
simple as that. And I suppose the problem with an art form is, especially if you get a gang of you together going, you're brilliant, and you're like, but there's no measurement of that brilliance.
Yeah.
Are you brilliant? Are you brilliant? Could you stand beside the best and make it hard could you go on before the best in the business and make it hard for them to get on the stage after you because you smashed so hard? That's, you know, and when you get to this is the thing, when you get to the straight across the board, funny, talented people, they're never looking over their shoulder going, how come they got that? They're just going, I need to get to where, you know, I need to do my own thing.
Well,
like,
I have to agree and disagree on that, because I do think that there is some looking over the shoulder to a certain extent with everybody. And there was actually, have you watched that film on Netflix? I think it's called A Stupid and Futile Gesture.
I saw it, but I haven't. I saw it popping up, but I didn't.
It's brilliant.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a biopic on Doug Kenny's life, and Doug Kenny is the guy who basically started the National Lampoon Collective, the magazines that started first before the films.
Right.
And it's unbelievable. Talks about like how people went and moved from like his kind of thing into Saturday Night Live, how he actually kind of like they took ideas from him. And,
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, crazy. Like, and it was like I was watching it, and something kind of stood out to me in the documentary was that how hard he was working, how hard he wanted to, the determination he had. But also when he was walking by the cinema, where I think it was a woman he was seeing, I'm not giving it away, by the way, but he was walking by a cinema, like a theatre, and there was a poster outside the theatre with the poster for the airplane, you know, the airplane film. And he just goes, and his heart sank, and he goes, oh, you know, what am I going to do now? And there is that element in...
Why was he upset about when he saw the airplane poster?
He was upset when he seen the airplane poster because it was doing better than some of the stuff that he had brought out and was doing at the time. And he really was just chasing that kind of like, I have to be the best. And it wasn't that he was jealous of like, you know, this thing doing better. It was like he was putting severe pressure on himself to kind of be the best that he could be, basically. Like, but I was like, Jesus, because I've often done the same, like without realising. Like I've been, like I remember me and Cara were going for a burger, and he literally had to leg it down because the rush hour traffic was mental. And I went into Wow Burger and had a burger myself just up on Parnell Street. And it was last year. I was going through one of the hardest times of my life. Like I literally had called Samaritans, I don't know how many times, but I was sitting there, and the first thing you do when you're on your own these days, you go into your phone because you look like a weirdo if you don't know. So I was on my phone looking up through Twitter, and I seen a few things pop up. Number one was Enya sells out Vicar Street, and I just went, I felt like everyone was passing me by.
Yeah,
and then I seen the, oh my God, what a complete Ashland girls. I've actually said this to them as well, and they were getting a film deal, and it just felt like I was like, I want to be at this level. And it just feels like it's taken so long. And it was kind of like I was putting severe pressure on myself to be as successful as my peers. Like, and I got to the stage where I realised that it's not like a competition. It's about what energy you put into your work, like, and what kind of you get out of it. It's kind of, I was focusing too much on what everyone else was doing and trying to be kind of up there with everybody else instead of focusing on what I was actually doing. Yeah. So once I started focusing on what I was doing, that started happening then. So it's kind of, do you know what I mean? Like that's yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's no harm to have a look, see, and maybe get inspired and go, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean about the danger of looking over your shoulder going, fuck, because it'll only rot your brain. Like, and
it does,
listen, I'm sure I'm getting better and better at it as I go further, and as I'm longer at this game, like, but I got a great phrase told me. I got a serious teeth kicking one time I remember I used to take comedy competition so seriously because I can't come from sporting background. I thought but it came down to this guy had brought like 40 people with him, and he won, and I'm like, you and I was fucking shattered because I did well. I did better than the chap in the final with me, like, and I remember. It was a chap who doesn't do comedy anymore, but he just turned around and said, look, you have nothing to worry about. Trust me. The cream always rises to the top, like. Just stay with your foot on the pedal.
He said this to you?
Yeah, he says the cream will always rise to the top. And that means if you stay being the cream, it has to come to the top. It may take longer, because it's just the variance of the world is that shit takes fucking longer. But it'll come good, like. But don't be fucking worried about what the other fella or the other woman is doing. Like, do you know what I mean?
I do think that's a kind of an Irish thing as well. Like, it comes in line with, like, it's not begrudgery, but like it does come in line where you're worried about what other people are doing when you should be focusing on yourself. Like, you know, in a way, I do think that there are a lot of creatives, definitely for one, who do that. Like, I think there's definitely that kind of. I think it's because it's such a small country as well. It's quite kind of like you're looking at what's going on. I think there's that kind of aspect of it. Like, you
probably personally know the person who's overtaken you. That's the thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you probably know the person. And the thing is, like, you probably don't immediately think about, because it's quite such a personal thing that you don't go. You never consider that they're probably thinking the same thing.
Oh yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, they're probably doing
the same.
Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
And that's what with this podcast. That's kind of why I just love getting people on, because it kind of makes. I'm not saying that it becomes the Buckshot family or whatever, you know, the podcast, whatever, but it does kind of. It's interesting to see the amount of people that have the crossovers of people where they're saying the same thing. Yeah. They were just thinking the same stuff at the same time. It's like, that's fucking gas.
It is mad. Like, it's it is one of those things though that, like, you just kind of don't realise until you kind of stop to think about it. But like, when you're doing that, like, you're not really kind of thinking. I don't think you're more so just kind of focusing on, you want to be better, but then you're kind of focusing on trying to rush things to be better then, and that just never works. I don't think it just never. No. It's not the way to go. Like,
Well, sure, it's like anything. Like, if it took longer, it'll be quality when it comes out the other end. Like, exactly, you know it will. Like, you know, totally. Even though I suppose obviously you have, you know, professional contracts that they go, we need that next Tuesday, and you're going, oh Jesus, could you not give me a month, like, you know?
Well, that's different. That comes with like. The work that I do as well. So, for example, there's a graphic designer in America. I think her name is Paula Shearer. I can't remember what her second name is, but it sounds something like that. And she, I think she had a quote, and it was something like, you know, she said something basically like, you know, it might take me like 5 minutes to do a logo, but I've trained all my life to get it done in those 5 minutes. I've got to that stage.
Yeah, so She's put the 10,000 hours in.
Yes, yeah. So you kind of learn a few tricks like here along the way, like, you know, and then you just kind of get to, like, I can do an illustrated map in like 3 hours, say, and that will be kind of it, like, and that will be one job done of 3 hours in the day, like, and
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of learn how to kind of manage the time that way, so it's kind of handy in that kind of
Well,
sense.
that's it.
Like, it's,
Isn't that it? Time management,
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
not faffing about going, where do I start?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know exactly where to start. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I guess that's the thing.
yeah, there's
like,
a process, like, definitely, yeah.
yeah, learning the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're wording this far better than I am, for fuck's sake.
Oh god, I talk a lot of shite though, in fairness.
That's
Probably.
what makes podcasting good fucking crack, like shite talking, like,
Yeah.
because it's conversation. But do you know what was class? Because I've always, like, I couldn't draw to save my life, like, but I've always liked illustrations because I don't know why it was always a fun thing in our house growing up, I suppose, because it was the 80s, I suppose, in the early 90s. But I loved I loved when you could tell who somebody's drawing was.
Oh, when they were a kid, like, and they drew them, like, is it?
No, do you know, when you could tell an artist, you know,
Oh, yeah,
because you know, so, like
just from the style of
their style from a
getcha.
distance away. Like, there was always, what are they called? And I only saw one on a poster yesterday. Somebody had used it. It was for, it's not Gladwell, is it? They were famed for making just illustrated books on really chubby ponies.
Really chubby ponies.
Really funny looking ponies. They were and it was always funny writing school. And they were memes before they were ever memes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they always...
It's not these animals with no necks and all, like,
no,
that kind of thing, is it?
These were really well drawn, but they were accentuated, bulgy. Like, they were...
Yeah.
I'll text you later on, Zine, with a picture on.
Sounds gas.
Also, like, you knew the writer from... You know, it was like your man from Calvin and Hobbes. But what I was getting to, like, talk, because I'd Rob Steers on as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you get your... You know, he's almost expressionless, but tons of expression in just a roundy face. How did you get to... Did you go, that's fucking me? Because I know your ones, you actually physically draw in the pink cheeks on people and stuff like that, which I went, that's fucking class. Nobody has discs on their cheeks, but you can tell it's somebody with rosy cheeks, you know what I mean?
I kind of just like adding those kind of little things into it because it's, I don't know, it just adds a bit of colour into it as well, because I think the face looks kind of weird without the kind of circles on it now. I've looked at it before, like, and even like on like a fella or anything like that looks weird without them, so I just put them on everybody now.
Was there, how long, how long is a piece of string, I suppose, but how long, like, you have your signature style now with your One Nikita. At what point did you go, boom, that's whatever? You know, like the Simpsons all look like the Simpsons. They all have an overbite. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how did you hit a point, or did you hit a point or just go, I think I'll run with that? You know, where you're like, this is my fucking style. Like, I'm guessing you could draw in any style you wanted, like, but when you hit, was there a eureka moment where you went, this is my fucking style?
Well, it's something that you kind of always develop. Like, you never kind of stop developing it. Like, you know, like in a couple of years, like, I might kind of go, right, like, you know, it's time to kind of do something else, and, you know, I'll start developing something new. Like, and it's kind of, that's kind of the good thing about that job, is because you can kind of go wherever with it. Like, you can start a new project and do something completely new then. Like, it's, I don't know when I would have kind of nailed down my style, because I don't think you ever do nail down a style, but I'm quite happy with, like, how my work is looking now. But, like, that's been 5 years since I started working freelance, so it's taken me a while to get to that stage. Like, when I first started out, I was drawing pictures of people's kids for like a tenner.
Really?
Drawing,
really?
Like, painting them in watercolour, and they were fucking shite, Tom. They were shite. Oh my god. They were awful. And,
I just imagine like kids with big gammy ears, and people are like, thank you. You're like, there you go.
Yeah, and it was just selling them for a tenner, and then I just started kind of posting up my work on social media all the time, and it was just got to the stage where certain people were looking at my work, and then I got invited to do exhibitions or take part in exhibitions, and it kind of just builds in that way as well. And you kind of, when you surround yourself with people in the same industry as you as well, you get a lot of advice. And, you know, oh, why don't you try this? Or, you know, like, oh, have you used these brushes? And you kind of find your own way from talking to people as well.
Okay,
and you kind of, you know, that way. So it's kind of...
Is it a nice community, like the proper arty community? Like,
yeah, it is.
Because there's a coldness to stand-up, like, where you're, you know...
It's funny. I studied graphic design, and I didn't want to go into graphic design because I'll be dead honest with you, I think it's a wankery business.
Is it?
Oh my god, I fucking hated, like, when I was in college getting my degree. I just really, I have to say now, like, I never felt so out of place as I did in that college. Like, there was just an arrogance about, like, certain people in the class, and there's that arrogance that goes into...
Where was it born out of, like?
I don't. Do you know what it is? It's an arrogance. I think that I don't know. It's something to do with like. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a real kind of like I know something you don't know, and you don't include and you don't include the clients in the work. They don't know what's going on. It's just like, oh, here you go, that's your logo done for you. And there's a crazy percentage, like 80% of graphic design companies actually don't know what their client actually does. So you're designing a logo for your client, but you don't actually fully understand what they do. So there's kind of that aspect of
architects
there's not real,
are quite similar.
Yeah. So I kind of for
you
that,
don't know. I'll do this for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I don't like that. Like, yeah, I think it's a real kind of. I don't like that aspect of it at all. Like, and I find that like it's really easy to tell someone what they're good at without you fully understanding what they are good at as well. Like I was told, like, illustration probably isn't your thing, and if I had to listen to, Jesus, I wouldn't be doing that. Yeah, like, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, it's one of those things like, that you just kind of you just go with your own kind of flow and go, right, I know I'm good at this, like, and I know that this is something I want to build a career on. But like illustration was definitely for me because the community in illustration is just really like friendly, and it's kind of, you get to meet all different kinds of people as well through that because you're working freelance. So it's, you can't work in-house really many places in Ireland as a illustrator, which is why I work freelance. But it's much better. But comedy's a funny one though as well. It's kind of, it's a bit hit and miss, like where there's some really, really sound people, but then there's some people who like are very cold, and sometimes if you're sitting in a hall or wherever you are backstage waiting to go in to do a gig, I hate that silence with like certain people.
I know, yeah.
And you're just kind of like, why is this silent? Like, why are people like, and I always get paranoid, and I'm like,
well, you were one of the few people. You were one of the few people who was smart enough to text me the time when you wanted to get into it. It was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what you should be doing. Delegate out, because nobody knows. Like, and at least I'd been a bit further down the road, so I was able to tell you what to do. Like,
exactly,
so. But I was like, why aren't more people asking the likes of me what to fucking do? Like, but then I suppose maybe they're in their own head. They're probably the sort of person who probably wouldn't give advice either. So they're going, well, nobody else is going to give me advice. Whereas you probably would give somebody advice if they asked you. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
totally. Like, it's definitely one of those things. It's it's a funny one. Like, but it's kind of, like, there's certain people, like, who I'd get on really well with, and then there's other people, like, who I'd kind of just say hello to, like, but it's not because I don't like them, I actually think it's because they don't like me, or they kind of are a bit off about me, like, but I don't know why, but, like, I get that kind of vibe.
I think a lot of the time, too, especially in the likes of comedy, because people can be a bit odd. I think it's probably that they're either, in the moment that you meet them, too, backstage, they're probably, in an anxious state. They're probably not great.
That's part of it as well. Yeah,
whereas
totally.
I would far sooner be having powerful crack, and then kind of somebody go, Tom, you've got to go to the stage. And be like, I'll be back in 20 minutes. Yeah. Because it'll transfer when I get on stage that I'm in mighty form. Yeah. Do you know that kind of way? Like, whereas, because mine isn't so structured either. I'm not word for word from a script. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so, but when I met you, we were both on the 6 o'clock show, and it was that your second book or your first book of your One Nikita? Was it?
I think it might be my second. No,
because you told a great story about Diddy Neggins.
It must have been my second book, because I started comedy then around April, May. So yeah, that would have been my second book.
Brilliant.
I think so. Yeah.
Did you trademark Diddy Neggins?
Diddy Naggins.
Remember you were talking about Diddy hiding Naggins or something.
Oh, and you're like humbling, like, or under your Diddy.
That's what I mean. You totally trademarked Diddy with Naggins. It's a fucking great phrase, like Diddy Naggins. I
never say Diddy Naggins, do I?
You said this on national television. I was fucking falling around. I was about to go on, and I'm sitting there beside Carl, your boyfriend, and and he's even looking, going, "No, I've heard this loads of times." I'm like, I've never heard Diddy Neggins before in my life, and you've just said this on national television. It was fucking amazing to hear.
Yeah, he actually, he said that, like, I don't even know.
This is going back to what you said earlier, where you'll just come out with shit, and you don't. This was on national television, and the Ray Foley and your one, what's her name?
I'm the same at home.
They were just falling around the place.
I'm the exact same at home. Like, when I'm the exact same at home when I'm literally like on my own, or when I'm with Carl. Like, where was it there? I think it was just there the other night, like, we got, like, a bottle of Prosecco in, and we decided to have a bath with a bath bomb. And I'm just sitting in the bath, and I just start going like that to his balls, my foot. I was like, that's the way, I like it. I was just making his dick dance. And I go, Carl, look at it. He's dancing, look at it. And Carl's like, if I had a camera, this is something that be in a TV show, Aoife. And I was like, yeah, but look. And he's like, for fuck's sake. Like, I just, yeah. You just never know what's coming, really. I just get something in my head and I just go with it. It's not always a good thing, though, but like, I was just like, oh my God. It was so funny.
How did because obviously, okay, so the second book, you were up and rolling at that stage. How does the first book come about? Like, where do you go, I'm going fucking making a book?
Well, I didn't. I didn't go about making it at all. Like,
but
it was.
Where did your One Nikita come from then?
Basically, when I finished college in 2015, as I was saying, like, you know, can't work anywhere as an illustrator in a company. So I was truly fucked, and everyone in my class was getting internships, moving to New York, and like all around, like, and doing great for themselves. And I felt like, fuck. I have a first class honours degree in graphic design and I don't even want to do it. Like, so I decided then, I set up a Facebook page over the summer then just to keep myself going. So I was illustrating every day. I was getting a few freelance jobs in, but basically what had happened was I made this diagram, a Hun diagram, and posted that up. And
I remember the Hun diagram, and it was basically all the things that would make a Hun, like,
exactly,
right.
Like, and posted that up, and it went viral, and nothing I'd ever posted in my life had went viral. So I was like, what the hell, this is unbelievable. And I got a buzz off it. I got like adrenaline rush, like the way you get like that buzz when you leave the gym. Like, it was so weird. Never experienced anything like that. And then I started getting loads of emails then. First email I got was, because it was basically, I got an email from someone in the Irish Times asking could they write an article on it, on my work, and I was like, yeah, of course. And I thought it was only going to be a little section down the end of the paper, but it ended up being like a full page, like half a page spread, like where
That's
it was
amazing.
one page. Oh, it was unbelievable. Like, and from that then, it was the most read headline over the whole weekend or something. It was on the Irish Times, like, oh, it was mental, like, and I got like good comments from it, but then I got real nasty ones as well. And then I got, what was it? Yeah, so basically from that then, I got loads of emails. I got an email from Penguin Books. And I was like, oh my God, you want to see when I got the email? I started jumping up and down the garage.
I would have pissed my pants if Penguin fucking emailed me.
I literally was just like, what the hell? And I went in and had a meeting with them now, and it was actually hilarious because they were saying, you know, oh, would you not write a memoir? I was like, I'm 24.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not there yet. Like, and I'm glad that I didn't because I have so much more to say now. I'm glad that I didn't. But I kind of tried out a few things for that, and it just didn't. It was kind of real, like, not, they were lovely, but it was kind of cutthroat in the sense that, like, if they didn't like it, they'd be like, no, this isn't going to work, see you later. And that's pretty much what had happened.
Yeah.
But I was annoyed because they asked me to draw a real good thing that had happened in my life and a real bad thing. And I drew a bad thing, and it was a real case of, you know, oh no, we were talking about the time your mother died kind of thing. And I was like, okay. So I illustrated it, and I was like, no, this isn't working in your language, like in your style, because I had the Dublin dialect, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So it was kind of, there's a lot of that as well, like, you know, nothing's ever
corporate world,
secure.
like, it doesn't matter how nice it is, it's fucking horrible.
There's nothing's ever secure. So then I got an email from O'Brien Press and Gill Books and a few other publishers, and just started meeting up with them because I had asked someone, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I have no agent, like, how do I go about this? And they put me in touch with their agent, and we met up, we got on great, and that's Faith and Lisa Richards now, so I'm kind of like linked in with her, and that's how the comedy kind of linked in as well, so it was really handy in that sense. But yeah, it was a really crazy time because I didn't expect any of that to happen. I wasn't planning on doing a book. I didn't think that was the last thing I would have expected to happen before I graduated college, like, and it was just really bizarre. And at the same time, I was meeting my biological dad as well. So it was really...
Is that in the UK? You were telling me?
In the UK,
yeah. You were telling me about that, yeah.
It was really bizarre, like... So
your head would be fucking blown off, like, thinking about that.
It was full on, like, and then Roddy Doyle emailed me as well at the same time. Yeah, like, he said, I love your work, it reminds me of why I love Dublin, and all the negativity I'd got up to that stage, I was just like, you know what? Roddy Doyle likes my work. That's a thumbs up from the north side itself. I was like, fuck everybody else. Yeah. I was like, no way.
The man that wrote the fucking Snapper, for Christ's sake.
Exactly. So that was kind of that. Yeah, it was a real surreal time in that sense because it just felt like there was a lot going on, and there was a lot of good happening. Like, it was a great year in that kind of way. Like, because it was an interesting one. So.
And what do you do? Like, when they say, if we want to put in, like, did they give you a notion of how long the book wanted to be, or how many illustrations were going to be in it? Or
yeah, we settled on like a page amount, and I actually thought.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so you kind of settle going. Yeah. Well, basically, what we done was they showed me this kind of size book, and I was like, grand. And they go, we're going to think of doing your book in this size, probably same amount of pages, whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, good idea. And that'd be how it would work, like, and then I'd work out like 200 pages. But I thought it was just going to be illustrations. So when I handed in my first few 2 pages, like the editor was like, "Where's the words?" And I was like, "The words?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a book." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know I had to do that." So I kind of became an author overnight then as well, because I'm writing is not my strong point in that sense at all.
Well,
like,
yeah, well, yeah,
but
I
in
mean-
writing little snippets and things like that, and like even with the scripts, with the animation, like they're so short, I can kind of focus on it. But if it's a long script, like it's like I just.
But that's
don't know
another
where to
art
start.
form in
Yeah,
itself,
it's-
like.
it is. That's why I'm not really. That's not my niche. Like, so it is. It's a totally different, like, you know, job title. Like, so it's, I struggle with that, but like with like little things like that, that's grand. But yeah, like it was really kind of, it was thrown in the deep end, like with no armbands kind of thing. Like, you know what I
Class.
mean? Like, but like I'm glad that I got through it now, and I was able to kind of talk about that like it was a really difficult time. I'm glad that I was able to kind of do it, because it was kind of a lot of pressure in the sense that, like, I just left college and this was a real world, like a big kind of job,
Yeah,
like, and it was
yeah,
my
yeah,
own
yeah.
thing, like, and
here's
so
the
was
thing,
it.
I guarantee you, the people that you left college and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
they went the other jobs, I can guarantee you they were looking over their shoulder going, I can't believe she's written it. And they were probably questioning
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
See, this is the other side.
Yeah,
People were
totally.
probably looking at you going, fuck, I need to pull my socks up. Like, she's after fucking bringing out a book
Yeah.
and everything. Like, you know, so there's, you know, when you can become quite self, you know, I suppose, deprecating in where you go, I'm never doing enough. You can be
That's it.
guaranteed there's going to be people that you went to college with that were going, fuck, I need to fucking do a book. I've never done a book. She's
Yeah.
got 2 books. Like, you know.
Oh,
and that-
totally, like,
you
it's,
know,
yeah.
and before we finish up, we need to talk, because this goes out tomorrow morning, which is just in time, hopefully, for your new next stage where it comes to life.
Yeah, yeah.
Nikita comes to life.
Yeah, so I think the player is launching soon. I think
This is
it's-
the RTE player.
Yeah, the RTE player. I think it's next week some stage.
So we're obviously the 15th today. Tomorrow's been the 16th. You reckon that they?
No, I don't have an official date just yet, because the way things have been run, like, but it's I'm hoping that it's going to be up towards the end of next week. So, like, you know, just
Brilliant.
after the 22nd, you know, that maybe,
Yeah.
you know, on that Friday, hopefully, but I will be posting up about it like a mad thing when it does go up
Is
anyway.
it,
but-
like, how many is it going to be popped up in episodes, or the whole lot, like Netflix, going to be put up for people to view? Like,
yeah, it's going. I think, yeah, because they're relaunching it, so it's going to be like a whole brand new player, like, and yeah, but so like there'll be a section for like my animation. It's just going to be called your One Nikita. So and it's actually spelled YOURONE, which I really regret doing now, because it's kind of like people always say you're one, and I'd say that as well and spell
Yeah.
it that way, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually done it kind of like that. So if it went, like, you know, for people outside the States, or like, you know, outside here, not outside States, outside Ireland, in the
Yeah.
States or whatever, so like they'd be like, okay, you're one, like, because I thought they wouldn't get the dialect.
so you'd rather than
it's-
write WAN.
Yeah,
nobody'd
yeah.
know what the fuck you're.
So it's
You're
spelled-
one.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
So
is it?
yeah, that's it. I'm
yeah.
afraid of people writing into the player like it's not there. But yeah, so that's what it's going up as. There's going to be 4 episodes. They're short episodes now, but hopefully if they do well, we might be able to do something else
Expand
with
into
them. It's
something
a
else,
test.
like.
I think it's a tester, like, to see
And
how
like
it
that,
goes. Yeah.
because we had Enya a couple of weeks ago. Enya's on it. Who else?
Enya's on it, yeah.
Who else is voicing on it?
Enya's on it, and she's playing a few different characters. She's playing Anto's Ma on the episode. She's playing you know, these zombie girls, and she plays a cashier in Penny's. And then Jen Hatton, do you know Jen Hatton?
Yes, yeah.
Jen Hatton is playing Tanya, Nikita's best friend.
Right.
Then Emmett Kieran's playing Anto.
You got Emmett Kerwin as well.
Emmett Kieran's playing
Brilliant.
Anto. So like, it's a, you know, really good cast of people. Like,
I mean, I'm not
real
in it, but you
sound.
know, there's no people.
Well, you know, but we only had so many
I
characters
know,
because they're
I'm
small. But, you know, no, there will be someone. Actually, I have to show you a gas video because there is in one of the
The one
scenes,
you sent me on was fucking brilliant.
Oh, I have to say,
Brilliant.
yeah, I have to show you one part of it because I'll show you later on because it's gas. It's actually I can't even say it because I'll spoil it, but I'll tell you after this. But yeah, no, there's 4 episodes anyway.
And Al Foran is in it as well.
Oh yeah, Al Foran as well. Jesus, oh God, my head's floating away at me. Yeah, Al Foran does everybody. He does like a drug dealer. He does Tom Hardy. He does Ryan Tuberty, Donald Trump, like all these
Brilliant.
people. So yeah, but yeah, there is a section with the Late Late Show on it where you turn to the audience. I have to show you that clip
Yes.
to see what you think because Al Foran actually done a guy from the country being ecstatic at something free that he gets, like, and yeah, I have to see what you think. It's gas, but yeah, like it was a great like lineup of people like to work with as well because everyone was really sound and everyone is just as excited, I think, of it coming
Course,
out
yeah.
as I am, which is great because I think that makes it all the better when you work with people who are like your friends or like people that you know or respect, and they kind of have that they understand it, you know what I mean? They know that you have to put in work in, they have to put in the work in, and they're looking forward to seeing it, and that's kind of
because there's nothing better, there's nothing worse like than just somebody turning up and going, right, what are we doing?
Exactly, like
Grant. And they might do a fun job and all the rest, but you just kind of go, oh god.
Well, it's a mad one, like, as well, because originally I wanted to use my friends. I wasn't going to go with like a cast
pro actors,
For what?
Pro actors, you know.
I thought you said pro wankers, and I was like, Jesus. I actually thought you said.
I did.
I thought you said.
I did. I don't know. We'll play it back. I thought I said pro actors.
Thought you said it, but no, like I wasn't going to go with pro actor. I was just going to go with like my mates, and the guy who I actually wanted to play Anto's voice is a good friend of mine, but he actually had a brain aneurysm there, a good few months ago, like, and he was in a coma for a while. He's doing a lot better now, but I was raging because I really wanted him to be part of it as well, and things kind of changed, but I do think that it worked out for the better. But I do want to kind of, if it does go further and the episodes get longer, I want to kind of include,
of course,
do you know
what
I mean?
Class.
It'd be good, like, just to have a mixture of like people like that I enjoy, like, basically hanging out with, and I can turn it into work. Like, that's the idea of it, you know.
That's the dream, like.
But hopefully it does well now. It's kind of like your 18th birthday when you're like waiting for everyone to show up and you're shitting yourself. I kind of feel like that, like, so I hope people actually watch it, because a lot of work went into it. So
the course has got, Jesus Christ, I mean the books did so fucking well, like, and everything else. People are totally, like, people love it. They're going to, I mean, at the very least, you give it a fucking look. You know what I mean? You know, but I can't see it. I can see no negative to a funny cartoon, like, you know what I mean? There's no,
crossed.
you know. So thank you very, very much. We finally
for
got it
having
done.
me.
I mean,
know,
we could have probably talked for a couple of fucking hours, but
I could talk to you for another 3 hours.
I
Like,
know. So do you know what? Just in case any listeners don't actually follow you, so they can see all this for next week when it does come out. Where's the best to follow you on, anyway, or whatever you want people to follow you on?
I'm on Twitter at Aoife_Dooley, so it's AOIFE_DOOLEY. And it's the exact same handle on Instagram, and they're kind of the two places I'd say I'll be really posting about it at first, like, so you kind of, that, if you want to keep up to date, that'd be the best place.
Great stuff. And when it does come out next week, or even the following week, whenever it does come out, I'll repost it anyway for the people that don't, you know what I mean? So at least if people are going, I'm not writing that down, because people are just, a lot of people listen to this while driving too, so they'll go, what did you say? But for the most part, people listen to this are Irish too, so they know how to spell Aoife Dooley. Like,
just in case, you never.
Oh yeah.
Sure, go to America. Nobody knows. People call me Alfie.
Yeah,
or something mad like that. Like,
imagine.
so I have to spell it. Like,
I can only imagine.
Oh God, yeah. It's just It's grand in this country, but when I go abroad, nobody knows how to say my name, so it's better just to,
spell it out.
Yeah, because Aoife sounds
like... Are you
like
Aoife?
Yeah, Aoife, Aoife, yeah.
Aoife, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks
Cheers.
for having me.
Now, my thanks to the fantastic Aoife Dooley. That was a good crack chat, and I'm sure if you lasted this long, you will have definitely enjoyed it too. If you want to follow me on all usual social platforms, go ahead and look for Tom O'Mahony Comedy. You will find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Tom Bear O'Mahony on Chatty Snaps. If you want to send me an email of any sort, go ahead. That's very easy to do. Just go to the website where you'll be looking for my gigs as well, tommahony.com. You'll find the contact page there. It's the handiest. Or if you want to message me on the old Chatty Snaps or Instagram, feel free to do so. I'll reply. That's the bottom line. I will at some stage reply to you, so don't worry. Other than that, I want you to all go away, have a smashing weekend, and send me on some pictures if you're on the fucking lash.